name is Ria Kasugano, and I'll be working here starting today. I only graduated from middle school, but it's nice to meet you all. Such a gyaru. I can't believe this is happening. The manager's going to lose more hair from the stress.
Manager, could you please check this document? My name is Seita Takasaki. I'm a 30-year-old systems engineer working as a team leader at this IT company with about 30 employees. Got it. Your designs are always so clean, so I'm sure this one will be fine too. And this is Sosuke Amori. He's 48 and serves as the General Affairs Manager. He's been running the company in place of the president, who's almost never here lately because he's launching a new real estate business. He's a hard worker who handles all the internal communications and troubles by himself, and all the employees rely on him. It's thanks to him that our company can consistently build multifunctional, high-performance systems. I'll bring it back to you once I'm done checking it. Thank you very much. Everyone at this company gets along well, and even though it's an IT company, it's easy to take paid leave. Of course, it gets busy before deadlines, but I always thought I was lucky to have gotten a job at this company. Until recently.
She's my daughter. She's 23 years old.
My name is Ria Kasugano, and I'll be working here starting today. I only graduated from middle school, but it's nice to meet you all.
A gyaru? It was a morning meeting on a normal workday. Unusually, our 50-year-old company president, Masato Kusagano, was in the office. And next to him was, without a doubt, a gyaru. Apparently, she was starting work there today. Why?
Her formal education ended with middle school, but she's got guts. She's inexperienced, but I'm sure she'll tackle her work with everything she's got. For certain reasons, I've decided to hire her. Please make her feel welcome.
You've gotta be kidding me.
If this is a dream, I want to wake up now.
I could understand if she had an impressive track record, but an inexperienced gyaru who only finished middle school? On top of that, it was clearly nepotism. I was so anxious that I'd love to meet anyone who wasn't feeling worried. Everyone was acting as if they were walking on eggshells around her. After the meeting, they all scurried back to their desks, acting unnaturally busy. And then, seeing their reactions, the president came over to, of all people, me.
Seita, I'd like you to be in charge of my daughter's training.
Me?
You're good at your job and you've trained new employees many times, right? That's why I really want to ask you. I'm thinking of having my daughter work as a systems engineer. I believe Ria will bring a breath of fresh air to this company. You can be as strict with her as you need to be. I'm counting on you.
Understood. And so, I ended up being responsible for the president's daughter, an inexperienced gyaru who only finished middle school. Have you ever done any system development? After introductions with Ria were over, I decided to start by asking her a few questions.
Not at all, but I'll learn, so it's all good.
By the way, how are your computer skills?
I'm a pro at managing social media.
It seems like hiring a college student part-time would have been a better bet.
Such a gyaru.
Is it really okay to hire someone with just a middle school education through connections? Seita's so unlucky, getting picked by the president himself? My colleagues, who had narrowly avoided this fate by having me as the sacrificial lamb, watched from a distance, as if to say, our condolences.
I can't believe this is happening. The manager's going to lose more hair from the stress.
I can hear you.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know what the president's thinking, but since I've been put in charge of her training, it's my job to turn her into a capable employee. Alright, listen up. Generally speaking, it's said that a systems engineer doesn't need to know how to program. That kind of soft thinking won't fly here, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm gonna teach you focusing only on the duties of an SE. I don't care if you're inexperienced or the president's daughter. I won't go easy on you. Got it?
Roger that.
Okay. Before we get to work, let's talk about your hair. Our company's dress code requires a hair color appropriate for a working adult. There are no strict rules, but you understand that blonde isn't okay, right?
Got it. Leave it to me.
And use formal language when speaking to your superiors.
Understood.
Her training began with, of all things, business etiquette. I was worried about the road ahead, but luckily, she was receptive, and things went smoothly. During that time, I noticed something.
A server is what provides data in response to a request. Got it.
Right, okay, next. I thought her training would be a struggle, but she's surprisingly a quick learner. Honestly, I expected her to give up and quit as soon as things got tough, but she kept up with my rigorous training.
If we stay cooped up in the office all day, we'll start growing mushrooms on our heads. So cheers!
Like that would ever happen.
Yeah! Let's get the vibes up!
2 weeks after Ria joined the company, we were all somehow summoned to a drinking party. It turns out, Ria had organized it because she wanted to get to know everyone better. She was so enthusiastic, going around to each person to ask if they could come, that it was hard to refuse. So we were all here, practically forced to attend.
Since we're all here, let's play Shiratori for fun. Motorized bicycle license. That's so long. Come on, team leader. You're next.
Huh? Yogurt?
Tokyo Hakone Round Trip University Ekiden Race. I said that's too long. For the previous system, we worked really hard to include a lot of features so that it could be customized down to the finest details.
By the time we finished a round of Shiritori, the alcohol had kicked in, and even those of us who were initially awkward started chatting pleasantly.
It's all thanks to Manager Amori, who fundamentally reviewed our development structure, so we could better meet the client's needs, as per the president's instructions. Wow! I'm not really the type to mess with settings, but to think you all put that much thought into it. You guys are so smart.
I was worried about how things would turn out, but there were no problems, and the party broke up while everyone was still having a good time.
Are you doing okay after all that, Seita?
One day, as Ria was gradually starting to get along with everyone, Manager Amori approached me during a break. Ever since the day Ria arrived, Manager Amori had been worried about me, the one tasked with her training. Manager, thank you for your concern, but this is my job. That said, I was surprised to find she's actually a good kid. She's absorbing knowledge quickly, too. Apparently, she used to work part-time, and it seems she wasn't corrected much outside of customer service, so she's still not great with formal language. Well, I'm willing to let it slide for now, since it's just within the office.
I see. Ha! I've known the president, Masato, for 15 years. I'd heard he had a daughter, but I'd never heard a single thing about her. I never thought I'd meet her under these circumstances. He said I'd understand his reason for hiring her eventually. But her overall skills don't even match those of a fresh graduate. Who knows when she'll actually become a valuable asset? With our sales stagnating, there's no need to rock the boat like this. What on earth is he plotting?
It's been almost a month since Ria arrived. However, there's still no sign of this breath of fresh air the president talked about.
Everyone's kind, so they don't show it, but I'm sure there are more than a few employees who are unhappy with her presence.
Manager?
No, it's nothing. Anyway, if you run into trouble, don't hesitate to talk to me. You're not alone in this.
Thank you. Feeling the kindness of the dependable manager Aomori deep in my bones, I ended my break. A month after she joined, Ria's on-the-job training began. With each new experience, the number of tasks she could handle increased. Her inability to program is a problem, but I believe that eventually, Ria will become an asset to the company. However... Ria, are you okay? If you're not feeling well...
I'm fine. It's quitting time anyway. And there's no work left, right? See ya!
Lately, something's been off with Ria. She looks pale and sometimes sways on her feet during work. I've tried asking her what's wrong many times, but every time I do, she evades the question and runs off like this. Manager, there's something I need to ask you. Then, 2 weeks after her on-the-job training started, I found myself standing before Manager Aomori, filled with anger. You're the one who told Ria to study programming, aren't you? Normally, I would never challenge Manager Aomori, whom I trust. The reason I came here now is because something just happened that I simply cannot overlook. Ria! Ria was walking down the hallway when she suddenly swayed. I was nearby, so I rushed over and caught her. As I did, a bag slipped from her hand, and a programming textbook fell out. A textbook? I haven't started teaching you programming yet.
It's fine. I just thought it would be better to learn it early. Don't worry about it, team leader.
No, you've been looking pale lately. You should rest a bit. I'll lend you my shoulder. Let's go to the break room. I never once told her to learn programming. Neither did any of our colleagues. Come to think of it, you've been concerned about her lack of skills from the beginning. So you said things to rush her, to make her learn programming quickly. Am I wrong?
That's right.
Why would you do that? And without even telling me, her trainer? I never thought he would resort to such drastic measures. Then, Manager Aomori began to speak quietly.
It's true that an SE can do their job without knowing how to program. However, that also means they're just dumping the most difficult processes onto the programmers. It's not right for an inexperienced girl who got in through connections to push that work onto them. She should at least acquire programming skills during her training period. I also consulted the president about this. He replied that it was up to her motivation, and she showed that she was motivated. What more reason do you need?
In other words, Manager Aomori is worried that Ria's presence is becoming a burden on the rest of us. He must not have consulted me on this because he didn't want to burden me with even more training responsibilities. But she's already doing a great job. Ignoring that and trying to make her learn everything at once will only be counterproductive. It won't be too late for her to learn programming after she's become proficient in her duties as an SE.
However, I can't stand to watch everyone suffer because of her. You two must have been at a loss about how to train an employee who got in through connections, with only a middle school education, right? If it's too much for you all, I'm prepared to go directly to the president and demand her dismissal.
Wait, manager dismissal? We never...
Hearing the word dismissal, the surrounding employees, who had been quietly listening to her argument, couldn't help but speak up.
But it must have been difficult working with someone who doesn't operate by our common sense at all, right?
It's true, at first we were at a loss for how to interact with Ria. But as we worked with her, we got to know her personality, and it became fun to work in an office with her here. Her education, her being a gyaru, her inexperience, none of that matters anymore. She's a member of this company now. So it's not right that she's the only one not being protected by you, manager.
The girl who was treated like dead weight was nowhere to be found. Hearing the strong pleas of the employees, Manager Aomori's expression wavered.
Manager!
Just then, Ria, still pale, burst into the room. Ria, if you're still not feeling well, you shouldn't push yourself.
I'm fine. I heard the team leader came here and overheard a little of the conversation. Manager, I'm so sorry. Everyone's too nice to say it, but I know I'm still not pulling my weight. Honestly, at first I only came here to make a living. I don't know why my dad hired me, but I just thought I was lucky to get a full-time job with better benefits than a part-time one. But now everyone is so good to me. They teach me so many things and I've started to enjoy my work. That's why I want to live up to everyone's expectations and become a great systems engineer. It's only natural to be fired if I don't have the skills. But I'll work hard. I'll learn programming and I'll become someone you can count on, Manager. So please, just give me a little more time. I promise I'll do my best.
Ria. Hearing her plea, Manager Amori scratched his head. All right. Continue to follow Seita's training. You can leave the programming studies for later. But if I see you slacking off even a little, you know what will happen.
Thank you so much.
We rejoiced at having gained Manager Amori's understanding, but this wasn't the end of it. From now on, we had to prove that she was necessary for this company. After taking a proper rest and recovering her health, Ria once again dedicated herself to her on-the-job training. Partly because of the promise she made to Manager Amori, she seemed to be putting in even more effort. Ria, check the system logs.
Yes, sir.
Combined with her natural knack for things, she grew at an incredible pace through various experiences. And then, 6 months passed since her promise with Manager Amori.
Team leader, was I actually helpful?
Ria, I'm so glad you were here. You were a huge help. A month ago, Ria finished her training and finally became an independent systems engineer. On this day, as a member of my team, Ria completed her very first project. Additionally, for a certain reason, the feedback from this client was better than ever before. It was all thanks to Ria. Meanwhile, there was one person who couldn't accept these results.
What's going on? The system we built this time is much simpler than usual because she was involved. Honestly, I was prepared to write this off as a necessary expense even if the client wasn't satisfied. So why?
The system we created this time was extremely simple compared to the multifunctional, high-performance systems we'd built before. While receiving progress reports, Manager Amori had even prepared himself for the client to be disappointed, thinking this was the extent of our company's technical skills. That's precisely why he couldn't comprehend the unexpected results we achieved.
Good work, Manager Amori. Sorry to always leave things to you. President, it's rare to see you in the office.
As Manager Amori was struggling to find an answer, the president appeared.
The new business has finally started to settle down. I'll still have to go back and forth, but I should be able to spend more time here than before. By the way, it seems the first project Ria participated in was completed today. How did it go?
Manager Amori frankly told the president about the project's results and the questions he had.
Does she have some special skill that I'm not aware of? I never imagined we'd get results like this. She may be my daughter, but she doesn't have any magical powers like that. Then... Do you remember what I asked of you, Amori, back when I started getting busy with the new business? You said that this company should build systems that are more closely aligned with our clients' needs. That's why I reorganized the teams and reviewed our development framework, so that we could provide even higher performance multifunctional systems. What you were thinking isn't wrong. Fundamentally, there's no harm in high quality. That's why you always chose highly educated people during hiring, right?
That's right. Until the president's daughter joined, everyone at this company was uniformly highly educated. Part of it was because the president had left hiring to the manager, but before we knew it, we'd become a group of highly educated elites.
All of our members up until now have been skilled, so they had the ability to provide high-functionality, multi-feature systems. There was a common understanding that this was the norm. It was a very closed-off, rigid way of thinking that had taken root. But that's only natural. Our job is to provide better, higher-quality products. But this time, it was the simple, not multifunctional, system that was well received. They didn't compromise because they saw our technical limitations with Rhea on the team. They probably made a simple system on purpose. Do you know why? That's...
Wait, team leader? From what I'm hearing, I think the functions could be much simpler. Maybe we should even cut some.
She spoke up during a discussion with the client.
Yes, that's right. Simpler is better. We're not very familiar with computers, so something easy to understand would be a great help.
Yes, it was Rhea who was the first to notice that the client was hesitating to speak their mind and what they truly wanted. She wiped away our preconceived notion that high functionality was what the client wanted and brilliantly showed us how to truly meet their needs.
Our employees are dedicated and highly skilled. That's precisely why they have a lot of pride in their work, and they were creating multifunctional systems that only they could make. But is that really what the clients want? Aren't we just forcing our own pride and values onto our clients?
In other words, the president had pointed this out to the manager before, but he had misinterpreted the direction.
I wanted you all to realize that, and I believed that Rhea could make it happen, so I had her join the company. Well, I noticed you all were a bit taken aback by Rhea. After all, she has little education and that gyaru mindset.
Well, I suppose it couldn't be helped, given she was an inexperienced person with a low level of education.
You highly educated people have the skills to show off. Rhea doesn't have that, but don't you think her experiences, her way of thinking, her perspective, and her common sense are things that you all lack?
Ugh. The president himself is also highly educated and used to have a similar mindset to the manager and the rest of us. But
the fact that she's not highly educated, Rhea doesn't see that as a failure at all. When I realized that even with just a middle school education, you can enjoy life depending on your perspective and way of thinking, I realized that I had been unknowingly looking down on people with less education, and hadn't even tried to understand her. When you're working, you have to interact with people regardless of their educational background. If you look down on people who are different from you and forget their perspective, you're only narrowing your own. In that respect, he, Seita, was a real help, treating everyone fairly. It's thanks to him that Rhea was able to grow this much. The other employees all accepted Rhea as well. The last holdout is you, Manager Amori. I still have to keep going back and forth for the new business, so I'm counting on you from now on.
Yes, sir. I will do my best. I sincerely apologize. To be given a chance to start over, Manager Amori bowed his head deeply, determined to live up to that trust this time. Afterward, Manager Amori apologized to Rhea, and he thanked her for making the project a success. I was wrong to treat you like an outsider. I was the one who was mistaken. Thank you for bringing a perspective to this company that we had forgotten, Rhea.
Does that mean I can keep working here?
Of course. If you're willing, I'd like you to continue working with us.
Yes, team leader, I did it!
And so, Rhea was finally recognized by the manager as a true member of the company.
Actually, I was a pretty popular model back in middle school. I was so popular that I was getting job offers constantly.
What?
So after graduating from middle school, I joined an agency and worked full-time instead of going to high school.
Working full-time with only a middle school diploma? I'm surprised the president allowed that. Wasn't he an academic elitist?
Dad told me over and over to go to high school, but my mom stood up for me. Actually, My mom used to be a gyaru. I think Dad only found out after they got married. So my mom is super positive, and she told my dad that I should do what I want to do right now.
So Ria got her cleverness from the president, and her positivity from her mother.
But as I got older, my image changed, and the jobs stopped coming in. And eventually my contract was terminated. My peak was 10 years ago. I've been long forgotten, so no one would even know I used to be a model. But I have no regrets at all, and I'm enjoying life. So I still wanted to continue modeling, so I took on freelance jobs while working part-time. To become a model, your education doesn't matter at all. It's all about skill and looks. That's why I never even thought about going back to school.
Manager Amori was complaining that he'd never heard about his daughter, but the private life of a model daughter isn't something you can easily talk about, even with your best friend. An industry where the effort you put into your education means absolutely nothing. That must be why Ria decided not to continue her education. It's a really tough industry. Educational background is nothing more than a label based on social conventions. I wonder if we've been putting too much faith in something that's merely a filter.
Well, bringing up my past glory won't make me any better at my SE job. I'll keep modeling as a side job, but my place is here from now on. I'm counting on your continued guidance and support, okay, Seita?
Education isn't the only measure for judging a person. Even if someone has a low level of education, if you take the time to see their personality for yourself, you might just realize that they possess a charm that the rest of us lack.
Hello. I really liked this episode because as someone who went to school for musical theater, many people might be like, well, that's a useless skill. But you know what? All degrees, whatever you do, whatever you learn, all of it is life, right? And it's whatever you want to do that makes you happy as a person, right? Right. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!